So today we're going to be using the Universal Curette Columbia 1314. It has two working ends. It has a rounded toe and two cutting edges. It is used to scale moderate to heavy calculus and can be used subgingivally and supragingivally. Since it's a universal curette, you can use it on the posterior and the anterior teeth. In order to know the correct working end, you're gonna look at the V to the D. So the V of the shank has to be pointing towards the distal. If we put it against the tooth, the toe is adapted to the tooth and the V is to the D. That is the correct working end. If we were to turn it around, you do have the V to the D, but the toe is pointing towards the gingiva. So that's not the correct working end. That would actually cause a lot of tissue damage. When we're scaling the buccal surfaces of number 2 and 3, we're going to be sitting at a 9 o'clock position. We're going to tell our patient to put their chin up and to turn away from us. I will use my mirror to retract the cheek as well. So you will apply moderate pressure if it's moderate calculus. If you have a really tenacious piece, you can use a stronger fulcrum on, you have to put more pressure on your fulcrum. It just depends on the type of calculus you have. So I will be fulcruming on the occlusal surfaces of the premolar teeth, and I will insert at the distal line of number 2, rock on your fulcrum, and do overlapping strokes. Now I'm going to insert distal line angle and do oblique overlapping strokes on the buccal surface, roll into the mesial, and do overlapping strokes. Same for number 3. Insert the distal line angle, do overlapping strokes, roll on your fulcrum, do overlapping strokes on the buccal surface, roll into the mesial line angle, and do overlapping strokes. And you want to rock on your fulcrum using moderate pressure. We can also do horizontal strokes, and I'll be fulcruming on the buccal surfaces of the premolar teeth. I will insert at the distal line angle and do short horizontal strokes. And this is to make sure that we have not missed any calculus at the distal line angle. So just do short strokes. To scale the surfaces, the lingual surfaces of number 10 and 11, for the surfaces toward us, we're going to be sitting at a 9 o'clock position. We can tell our patient to turn a little bit toward us, and we're going to be using our mirror for indirect vision. So in order to be really adapted, we have to look at the correct working end. So the V in the shank has to be pointing towards the midline of the tooth. So in this case, we have the correct working end. So for number 10 and 11, I'll be fulcruming on the incisal edge of the anterior teeth on the central incisors. I will insert at the midline of the tooth, and I'm going to roll into the mesial line angle. You have to open the angulation so you can be 70, 70 degrees in angulation and do overlapping strokes. We'll be doing the same thing for number 11. So insert the midline and do overlapping strokes. Now, to scale the surfaces away from us, we'll be sitting at a 12 o'clock position. We're gonna turn our instrument the other way. And we'll insert at the we'll insert at the midline of the tooth on the lingual surface. Do overlapping strokes. The same for number 11. Insert at the midline of the tooth and do overlapping strokes. We can also do lingual horizontal strokes on the straight lingual surface. So I'm going to be fulcruming on the incisal edge of the anterior teeth. I will be doing horizontal strokes on the lingual surface, just short horizontal strokes. Now, in order to do the lingual surfaces of number 12 and 13, I'm going to tell my patient to turn away from me. I will use my mirror to depress the tongue, and that will give me more illumination on the areas that I need to scale. So I'll be sitting at 9 o'clock position. I will look at the V to the D to make sure I have the correct working end, which will be this one right here. I'm going to be fulcruming between the occlusal surfaces of the second premolar and the first molar. So I insert on the mesial surface and I do overlapping strokes. Roll on your fulcrum. And then I do the lingual surface, roll into the mesial line angle and do overlapping strokes. Same for number 13. Insert at the distal line angle, roll into the distal surface and do overlapping strokes. Insert into the lingual surface, roll and do overlapping strokes into the mesial surface. In order to do the horizontal strokes, I'm going to be fulcruming on the incisal edge of the canine, and I will insert on the distal line angle and do short horizontal strokes. Now, in order to do the buccal surfaces of number 18 and 19, I will be sitting 10 o'clock position, and I'll be checking to see if I have the correct working end. I'm gonna tell my patient to put their chin down, since I'm gonna be working on the mandibular arch, and to turn towards me. I will fulcrum on the occlusal edges of the premolar teeth. I will insert on the distal line angle, roll into the contact, and do overlapping strokes. Then I'll do overlapping oblique stroke on the buccal surfaces and roll into the mesial and do overlapping strokes. Same for number 19. Insert and do overlapping strokes, and then do oblique strokes on the buccal surfaces, roll into the mesial and do overlapping strokes. Make sure to be rocking on your fulcrum to create the lateral pressure. In order to do the horizontal strokes on the distal line angle, I will have an extra oral fulcrum, maybe under chin, and then I would just do horizontal strokes on the distal line angle, just like this, to make sure that we have scale all that calculus from the distal line angle. Now to do the facial surfaces of number 25 and 26, we are going to be sitting at a 9 o'clock position for surfaces toward us, and we are going to tell our patient to turn toward us a little bit. We're going to check to have the correct working end, which will be right here. Yeah, this is the correct working end. So we're gonna start at the midline of the tooth. Oh, let me put this. We're gonna start at the midline of the tooth. I'm going to be fulcruming on the incisal edge of the lateral incisor, and I'm going to roll into the distal line angle and close my angulation as I come into the distal contact, and then I open it. The same for number 26. You're going to start at the midline of the tooth, roll into the distal line angle, open the contact to 70 degrees angulation, and do overlapping strokes. For the surfaces away from us, we'll be sitting at a 12 o'clock position. I'm going to turn my instrument around. I'm going to be fulcruming on the incisal edge of the canine. I'll insert the midline of the facial surface, rolling to the mesial. I'll open my angulation to 70 degrees and as I come into the contact area, I'll open it more. So insert the midline of the tooth, roll into the mesial, open your angulation, and do overlapping strokes. You have to make sure that your very adapted to the tooth when doing the anterior teeth, because you don't want to cause tissue trauma by not being adapted and poking into the gingiva. In order to do the facial surfaces and make sure that we have not missed any calculus, you want to do some horizontal strokes. So I'll be fulcruming on the buccal surfaces of the premolar teeth and just doing some short horizontal strokes on the facial surface. For the lingual surfaces of number 30 and 31, I'm going to be sitting at a 10 o'clock position. You can tell your patient to turn towards you as much as they can. We'll make sure to have the correct working end. I will use my mirror to do indirect vision. And what I want to do is I'll be fulcruming on the occlusal surfaces of the premolar teeth. Insert at the distal line angle of number 31. Do overlapping strokes on the distal surface. Then when you get to the mesial, when you get to the lingual surface, do oblique overlapping strokes, roll into the mesial line angle and do overlapping strokes. So insert, we'll do this on number 30 as well. Insert at the distal line angle and do overlapping strokes. Roll on your fulcrum. Then you want to do overlapping strokes on your lingual surface, rolling to the mesial line angle and do overlapping strokes. In order to do the distal line angle of the lingual surfaces, you want to probably fulcrum on the incisal edge of the anterior teeth and do short horizontal strokes at the distal line angle for both 30 and 31. So just when scaling, try to make sure that you are using lateral pressure and that you are rocking on your fulcrum. And when you have calculus, you want to get underneath the calculus and be able to scale up. And that'll be everything for today. Thank you.